the new marketing for your small business podcast. Delivering the latest opportunities in marketing to help your small business grow and prosper in a digital world.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the new marketing for your small business podcast. I'm your host, Luke Porter from Moving Tree Media, and today we're shifting gears a little bit. We've been talking a lot about strategy lately, LinkedIn strategy, Facebook strategy, content planning, and that's all important stuff. But today I want to just zoom out a little bit and ask you a question. When was the last time that you reintroduced yourself on social media? I know for many of us, whether you are the business owner or just a marketer, we get so focused on the next big thing, the next campaign, the next launch, the next promotion, that we kind of forget about the core of our business, the why, the who, the origin story. So today's episode is about rediscovering that. Here's the thing, people don't really connect with businesses as much as they connect with people. A person should be the face of your business most of the time, unless you are a large corporation. And what we talk about in this podcast and what I do for my clients is social media. And social media is built on that human-to-human connection. So if your business feed has just become a series of announcements and upcoming product launches and events, it might be time for just a little bit of a reset. Reintroducing your business is really about reintroducing yourself, your journey, you as the business owner. Whether you're the founder or the operator or even the face of the content, basically you are like the beating heart of the brand. So where do you start? Here's what I tell my clients, and here's what I have seen work well on social media. Pretend that someone is interviewing you about your business. What would they ask? What would you want them to ask? Some of the best performing content we've ever created has come from these interview style questions. Sometimes we write the questions in advance, and sometimes it just kind of pours out of the person. But either way, as far as social media content goes, it is solid gold. So start with questions like, what inspired you to start your business? What was that first year like? What do you wish you had known when you had started? And here's one I really like to ask. What is your favorite part of your job? And I don't ask that one first. I let people take me through the journey first. And then when I ask their favorite part, I get some really heartfelt emotional responses. And that's kind of the key here. Don't be afraid to get a little bit vulnerable. It humanizes you and it makes people empathize with you. It builds trust. So don't worry if your story is not big and dramatic and flashy. At the end of the day, it just has to be honest and relatable and human. So here's a few other things you could think about including. What failure taught you the biggest lesson in your business? Or as far as lessons go, what was a lesson your parents taught you or another family member that really shaped how you run your business now? Or going back to childhood, tell a story from your childhood that kind of foreshadowed what you'd be doing now in your career. Or maybe there was a big challenge you overcame, whether it was in middle school, high school, college, a challenge that made you stronger as a person, and you use that in your business every single day. And again, the story doesn't have to be big. It just has to be emotional. It has to create an impression in people. So how do you actually do this on social? Let's get into that. So here's a few practical ways to share your story on social media. The first and honestly easiest way is just make a reintroduction post. Start with something simple like, hey, it's been a while since I've introduced myself here. So here's the story of how this all came about. Another way to do it is like a then versus now post. Find an old picture of you when you first started your business, something from that first year, and post a new picture of you now. An extra bonus to this is that LinkedIn is starving for more selfies. So if you take a selfie of yourself now for the after picture, you're going to get an extra boost in your LinkedIn reach. And then talk about in the post what's changed and what hasn't. This doesn't have to be a video post, even though we specialize in video. This can just be those photos and some great text. And if you want to take this a step further, don't make it a single post. Make it a story series. Break up your origin story into like 3 or 4 parts. Like the first post could just be about the inspiration, another one about a big challenge, another one about like what keeps you going today. Just like plan it out, and you could have a week-long series or even a month-long series that people would keep coming back to. Here's another idea. Make it a 3 things post. I haven't talked about that much on the podcast yet, but if you can break your content up into an odd number of things, I usually say 3 things because that is the right length for a short consumable post that also gets great reach. Those kind of posts actually do really well, especially on LinkedIn. So you could do something like 3 things I've learned since I started my business, or 3 things I wish I knew before year 1 in my business. Think about your journey and find ways to break it up into lists of 3 things. And by the way, this is also great content for your blog, which helps your SEO. So all of these marketing tasks are connected. But speaking of video, if you can just turn your phone on yourself, do a selfie video, tell the story with your face on the screen, that can help people connect with you even better. And remember, it doesn't have to be perfect, and don't overthink it. Definitely don't script it. Just speak from the heart, make it real, make it authentic, and people will connect with it. And maybe you're not the business owner or founder. Maybe you're the marketer. Maybe you're the content creator. And then your job is to extract that story from the founder. So make a list of interview questions. Ask ChatGPT to help with this. But questions like, why did you start the business? What scared you the most, that first year? Maybe what's something your customers or clients don't know about you, but it would be great if they did. If this is on video, you can just get their answers right off the cuff. Otherwise, if this is going to be a text post with a photo, you can either record the conversation or just take notes while they're talking and turn it into a story post. Just keep their voice in mind, make it sound like them. And then revisit this every year, because over the course of a year, you're going to get a lot of new followers, and not just like actual followers in your follower count, but people that are going to see your posts over and over again in their feed just because they've liked or interacted with your content. And then there's other topics that are connected to this reintroduction about taking inspiration from the past, from your childhood, thinking back about how these things you experienced shaped you as a business owner, shaped you as an adult, and relating them to what you do for your clients and your customers. That is all an amazing source of content for your social media feed. And honestly, that kind of content performs so much better than just another corporate post. So remember, reintroducing yourself is not about bragging. It's not about like rehashing old news. It's about reconnecting with your audience, with your purpose, with your why that made you start the business in the first place. So if you're feeling maybe a little bit disconnected from your content or from your audience, that might be the time to take a step back and say, let me tell you how this all started. Thank you so much for listening to our episode today. If you found this episode helpful, I'd love it if you subscribed and left a quick review. It really helps other people like you discover this show. And if you create a reintroduction post after listening to this episode, tag me or send me a message. I'd love to see it. So until next time, keep telling your story because someone out there needs to hear it.